Hello and welcome back to another week of Sambo iRacing. We're back in the Mazda MX-5, this time at Miami Extended Loop for yet another track guide. Now this is for the Open Production Car Series and the endurance version of that. And if you want to race, the exact setup being used by me in this track guide, you can go to our website, sambosetups.com, or our Patreon page. There are links to both in the description, as well as the race setup. There's also qualifying, there's wet variants, and there's the endurance variants as well. So check them out. Any questions, let me know in the comments. And as always, we're going to do a hot lap of breakdown. Then we will be back in the cockpit one final time, the driving line on. Right, let's start the hot lap. Smashing it down the main straight, looking for our braking marker into turn one, which is going to be just before the 100 board, and we're going to brake up to about 80%. Going to wipe all that speed off. Late change down to first gear on the apex, absolutely flat through turn two. Now we're going to do quite a big lift in second through turn three. Going to go past this orange thing. Now we're going to get on the brakes at about 65%. Long trail off and really circumspect, picking back up on the gas in first. Now we're going to turn in just after the 50, on the brakes at about 45%, slide it through, lift as we go through that apex, and then we're absolutely, well, we're trying to go flat through the third. Exit nice and wide, very slidey car. And now we're going to start braking just before the 50, down. Oh, we remain in third gear, sorry. Couldn't remember what I did. I have been drinking quite a lot since I did this lap. Right, long straight. We're going to brake just before the 100 board. I almost reached peak pressure. Down to first gear. Back on the gas. Got to be quite patient on exit there. You do end up in that wall, like I found quite a few times. And now we're just flat out to the end of the lap. And over and across, I went in a 1:20.4. Right, breakdown lap coming up next. Right, breakdown lap. So first braking marker is going to be this 100 board on the left-hand side. Do I start braking? Yeah, so I start braking more or less when I'm alongside it. You can see it just in the top left-hand side of my windscreen here. And I reach a peak of about 80%, trying to wipe all that speed off. I only drop it down to first once I'm actually back on the gas. And that allows me to go flat through the second turn, and then I get all the way over here, and now I do a lift, just using that curbing on the right-hand side to let me know where I am. We're going to go past this orange thing and straighten the wheel, and as soon as I do that, as you can see, I'm on the brakes up to about 65%, but it's a long trail off, very slippy corner. I drop it down to first, start picking back up on the gas at the apex, but I don't reach 100% until I'm here, so it's quite slidey. And again, we're going to go through this 50 board, and then we're going to get on the brakes up to about 45%, try and get the nose pointed in. I get a little bit of a slide on there, but that just opens up the next corner quite nicely. I'm in second. I do a lift to get over there, and then I try and go absolutely flat through here, but I do drop it briefly down to about 95%. A little bit of counter steering on exit. Then for this corner, so I've tried it various different ways, and for me, I found that going through in third was the most consistent rather than dropping it to second, because you tend to have overslowed to do that. So I'm on the brakes just before I get to the 50, more or less midway between the 100 and the 50. I only brake up to about 55%. I'm going to trail that off. I start getting back on the gas ahead of the apex, and wait until the car's actually settled, and now I get back up to 100%, more or less when I'm on this exit curb. I just stay inside the track limits. Keep it going, sorry. Frog in my throat. I do not mean my French friend Pierre is with me. Right, we're going to start braking after the 150 and more or less just before we get to the 100 here. So as you can see, I've started now on the brakes. I've got 1% on, but by the time I get alongside the 100, I'm wiping all that speed off, holding it around 85%, trying to stay out the ABS early on in the braking zone, trail that off. And again, we're going to be quite circumspect with the throttle application on exit. If you go too early, you're going to end up in that wall. I don't make it up to 100% until I'm right up against that wall, which is the way I like it. And now just cutting this corner, without getting the off track. And over and across the line I go. So that's the breakdown of the Mazda MX-5 at MIA Extended Loop. We have one final version coming up next with the driving line on without me talking. Enjoy.